ChatGPT is not that impressive. Let me share this. See, this is interesting though. Let's see, there we go. So I'm just going to go through something interesting. How do I shrink that? Anyway, okay, so I asked ChatGPT. I wanted to see how detailed of it could give me about things Leighton Flowers teaches, right? Because I was watching him on my friend's channel yesterday. This is what did I ask here? Let's see. What is Leighton Flowers' best arguments against Calvinism, right? Because I'm kind of familiar with them. I asked ChatGPT. I just wondered if it would recognize Leighton Flowers. Presuming it would, and it did. Leighton Flowers is a prominent critic of Calvinism. He has presented various arguments against it. Not just, well, his specific arguments may evolve over time as a minor. So he hasn't even been able to get any data for a couple of years apparently. But these are just really general. Here are some key arguments he has made against Calvinism, and then they just list really general arguments that are not specific at all, and it just inserts Flowers. Flowers asserts that Calvin, it's just like no quotes, no citation, God's foreknowledge, response to the problem of evil. These are just really general things. I'd like to know exactly what kind of connections there are to actual data that's on Flowers out there. And then it gives the usual. It is important to note that Leighton Flowers represents a particular perspective within the broader theological debate over Calvinism and Arminianism. Interesting way to say it. What are some of the analogies he has come up with to critique? So I was trying to get more specific. What are some of the analogies he's come up with in his critiques of Calvinism? And the divine poker game, the parent and child. And I guess he has used those, but it's like, I wonder how specific this. I really want to know more about how it gathers data. The author and characters analogy. Flowers uses the analogy of an author writing a story. I don't know that I've heard them do that at all. Again, not very specific. What about a drug sting? So I wanted to see if it would recognize that Flowers has made that argument. One of the better arguments, I think. I'm not aware of Flowers using a drug sting. So when you get specific, it doesn't seem very accurate. And then I said, please generate an argument against Calvinism which compares the ethics of a police drug sting on drug dealers. And I thought this was fairly interesting, though. I tried to give more specific details in the question to help it generate the response. And then it says, well, it may not be a direct analogy used by Leighton Flowers, which it is. You can construct an argument against Calvinism by drawing a comparison between the ethics of a police drug sting on drug dealers and certain aspects of Calvinistic theology, particularly the Calvinistic view of divine determinism. Here's an argument along those lines. Presumption of moral responsibility. In a police drug sting operation, law enforcement agencies specifically target individuals engaged in illegal activities. Such as drug dealing. This operation presumes that these individuals have made morally culpable choices to engage in illegal behavior. Similarly, in the theological context, Calvinism's doctrine of the divine determinism implies that God meticulously controls all human actions, including sinful ones. However, this raises ethical questions akin to the drug sting scenario. The drug sting operation seeks to hold drug dealers accountable for their actions and bring them to justice within the legal framework. Likewise, in theology, the question arises, if God determines every human action, including sinful ones, how can individuals be held morally accountable or justly punished for their sins? This appears to be an ethical concern related to the compatibility of divine determinism with notions of justice. I don't know about that part. Destiny is of individuals. fairness and mercy. In a drug sting operation, there's a concern for fairness and justice, and law enforcement often seeks to balance the pursuit of criminals with opportunities for redemption and rehabilitation. Interesting. In Calvinism, where God is seen as determining the eternal destinies of individuals before their birth, questions arise about the fairness and mercy of such a system, especially if some are predestined for salvation and others for damnation with no apparent opportunity for redemption or choice. Yeah, why even predestine the drug sting and drug dealing in the first place if it's already decided? Doesn't make sense. Human agency and moral growth. Drug stings acknowledge the agency of individuals involved in illegal activities and the potential for them to make different choices in the future. Critics of Calvinism argue that a deterministic view of God's sovereignty diminishes human agency and moral growth, raises concerns about whether individuals have the freedom to make choices and grow in their moral character if God predetermines every action. The ethical implication extend to questions about God's character. If God is the ultimate determiner of all human actions, including sinful ones. I mean, this is just so it does seem like it makes absolutely zero sense. Like the drug sting analogy is just, to me, to be honest, like if I'm really just frank about it, like to me, the drug sting analogy that Flowers gives is reason to absolutely realize Calvinism cannot be right. It's so obviously the case. Like if I'm just totally frank, I don't have a vendetta against Calvinism. I think it's historically important. I like Calvinists. I think they have a lot of good insights regarding scripture that a lot of people don't recognize. But like, dude, drug stings are ethical because the persons who you're setting up have corrupted themselves. If you're the guy who groomed the drug dealer to do that, it's just like, dude, we don't say somebody committed adultery if they're a victim of grooming. End of story. Like, it comes down to like, do you think God is Satan or not? We have agency. It's self-evident. And if you don't think so, then why the heck do you bitch about grooming? Because God is the ultimate groomer. And then you're saying that it doesn't matter. You're guilty if you did the thing that God determined. It's outrageous. There's no love there. Like, you don't have to know how it works. It's self-evident. And if God determines evil, he's evil. Period. End of story. Again, I'm not just lashing out because I won't accept the truth of Calvinism. It's obviously wrong.